How you doing, guys? Welcome to another episode. So in this episode, finally we're gonna do a replacement on the extended stud for the front. I have right here the extended stud. I already did the ones on the rear, so if you wanna know about that episode, check it. I'm gonna put it right here so you can see how I remove and replace my studs. In this episode, we're replacing the ones on the front. The main reason why I want to do this is because right now I'm relying on the spacers for the weight of the car. Remember, we have a front drive vehicle with engine in the front, steering on the front. Everything is relying on the front of this car. Right now, everything, all the weight of the engine, transmission, everything is relying on those spacers. I couldn't find any better spacers for the car. The ones that I found, it was basically the same material. So I want to go extended studs just because I want to rely on the weight of the whole components, the knuckle and everything inside. I don't want to just rely on the adapters, because remember, if you have adapters, those adapters, they have studs, so the vehicle is relying on those studs to hold the whole weight. Now if we replace the adapter and we make a spacer with extended studs, everything's gonna be relying on the vehicle again. In this case, I went and I get new hubs, new bearing. This is for this side. Over there I had the other ones for the other side, so that one is gonna be later in another episode. If you guys know, I have a Spanish channel, so that's gonna be for the Spanish channel. First thing, you gotta remove the tire and remove all the components to remove your knuckle. I'm not gonna go in detail and all that because I did this before. If you wanna know about it, how to remove the whole knuckle, I have an episode where I replace the lower ball joint and I go on detail on everything. I'm gonna put it right here so you can refer to that one, and that's gonna help me to cut time on this installation, because plus I had to do another episode in Spanish about the same thing. Main focus is replacing the bearing and replacing the extended studs, and I'm gonna do all that with that little tool. I don't have a press with me, so I'm gonna use that tool to remove the bearing and put a new one and put the hub with extended studs. And guys, this episode is not sponsored. Everything that you see in here, I get it with my own money. But the tools, bearings, everything that I'm gonna use on this episode, I'm gonna put it on the description. So if you wanna go and do this, you can do it and refer yours to the description so you can get the parts. That camber life. Now you can see we have the adapters, so we're gonna make them spacers. How you make adapter spacer? Just removing the studs from the adapter, and that's the main thing why we're doing this. This is what we have right now. We're gonna remove these studs and we're just gonna make it in spacer. In this case, this is the front one, but on the rear, if you guys have been following the channel, you guys know that I have 20mm spacers. I went low a little bit, and this is from the rear. So by removing the stud, then you have this. But if you just have this with the regular studs, you're not gonna have a stud to grab the wheel. That's why we're going from these little studs to these ones. You see the difference? A lot more thread, so we're gonna be able to do whatever we want in the front, on the rear too. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm gonna change my setup on wheels later. I might go wider. I'm gonna need bigger studs. I might go with wide tires, and I can play with the spacers. Okay guys, so I break that nut loose. There is a couple ways that you can do this. One, put the wheel back on and then just break it with a breaker bar, or if you have an impact, which this one is not really powerful to break it loose. And another way is just have the car the way it is. I get my son, he was stepping on the brakes, so it was really tight. So we have this one, which is the breaker bar, my cheater bar with a 36mm socket, and I break it loose. Him stepping on the brake makes everything a lot easier. So now we break it loose, we just go the rest of the way with the impact, and that was a very easy way to do it. Instead of putting the wheel back on and doing all that thing, we just break this one loose that way. On the new hub, we have a new nut for both sides, so we're gonna throw this away. We don't need them no more. We're gonna use new ones. Nothing like having big brakes. This process, guys, it looks really easy on my car because these things are coming on and off all the time. And if you live up north, good luck, because if you live up north with all that salt and all that rust, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have a hard time if you try to do this process. But in my case, I don't live where it's snow, and it makes everything a lot easier, especially if you work on cars. So that's why I don't like to get cars from up north or live over there. People that lives over there up north where there's a lot of salt and snow, you guys are brave. Really brave. So speed sensor out of the way. This one is new. I have an episode on this one. I'm gonna put it right there so you can go and see how to replace speed sensors, which is really easy. If you live on the south, if you live up north, not that easy. All those cotter pins I remove with my fingers. You can tell that this is something that coming on and off all the time on my car. 17 for the tie rod end, a 17, upper 17. The lower should be 18 or 19. Yeah, the lower is 18. Now, you can use a hammer and hammer all this out, or you can use one of these tools to remove everything. Okay guys, I was using this to remove the tie rod end. That one is out of the way really easy. And on the top one, I hit it with the hammer. Right here, I hit it right here, and the top one is out. So that was really easy. Now for the bottom one, I can hit it with a hammer. Let me try it. That's it. I don't even know how to use it. So everything's out. I just gotta remove the axle. There you go. So that went really good. If you can see the way this thing is, there's no way you're gonna be able to put extended studs through here. You can cut it a little bit and then put them like that, But let me see if I can do it without removing the whole bearing and everything. If I can do it like that, that's gonna be awesome. Okay guys, so looking at this thing, we can do two things. We can cut a little bit here on the knuckle, this part, so we can push them out, and from this right here, we cut it right here, we're gonna be able to pull them out and put the new ones on. But let me see, I'm thinking about doing that instead of remove the whole thing, but we can put new parts on it. So I might cut it with my Dremel and try to pull them out like that. So let me see my options. So looking at my options, I think we should just put new ones. So I just hammer this out, all new, all these four studs, they're out. Really easy to do, just with a hammer. That's out. I try to remove the ones from the old hub, but yeah, you have to do some grinding, cutting in here, and you can do that, you know. But it's a good opportunity to show you how to remove bearings, do new bearings, new hubs, new everything, because this is a 19-year-old car, but I did my bearings right before the channel, so we're talking about 5-6 years, but the bearings is still good. But it's still, you know, I'm gonna remove them anyways, put new ones. Okay guys, because I don't have a bench to work on, I'm gonna do it this way. Just placing wood on this side, holding it here on the sidewalk, and having socket in the middle to remove the hub. Okay, got the hub out of the way. Bearing obviously is damaged, but that's the way to remove it. If you don't have a press, you can do it this way. Ring is out. These ones are really cheap. I really do need to get better quality, but they get the job done. Now this ring is out. Now we can press the bearing. But if you can see how damaged it is, because I hit it a couple times, and yep, it's all damaged. Guys, this is my setup. I had to get my son to step on the brake bar just until the bearing pops. Now the bearing pop, it's really easy to remove it, but without a bench it's really hard to work on. Also, with the hammer and screwdriver, I knock everything inside the bearing. I remove it from the bearing itself. I also put it on the tire, so it helped me out a little bit. But with my son stepping on this one, it was a lot easy to break it loose. But like I said, hit it with the hammer first in order for you to get the bearing loose. And that's how you remove bearings if you don't have a press. If you can see right here inside, this is the bearing, and this one right here fits right inside. Okay guys, so quick little tip. If you want to do this on your Honda and you have a Honda like mine, you have to be careful. I remove everything inside the bearing so I can put this one in. The reason why is because in here if you can see, this part is larger and the bearing goes inside and it's gonna sit on this lip. If you try to push the bearing out, you have to remove everything inside the bearing, so you can grab one of these and it goes inside, because outside is gonna be this raised part and you're not gonna be able to push the bearing out. So that's why I get this one that is small and I push it out that way. Now to push the bearing in, the new one, you're pushing it from the other side, from the back side. You need to find one of these that is large enough to fit on the outside of the bearing, but small enough to go in, because you're gonna push it in, and you need to find one. And this one right here, the on the kit, is the 95518. This one fits right on the lip of the bearing. So I just had the plate outside and the bearing, and I'm pushing it with this. So we just gotta push the bearing in, make sure it goes straight. You're gonna feel when it bottom out, it gets really hard to turn. That means that the bearing is ready, sits in place. It's really easy. Once you remove it, it's really easy to put the new one back on. But first time, I remember the first time I used a press, it was really hard because that thing really, it was really in there. Okay, so that's how you put the bearing. So now we have new bearing. The only thing that we gotta do now, put the retainer clip back on and then push the new hub in place. I had a new hub with extended studs, but first we gotta put the clip, the retaining clip, back on it. Hopefully I can push it with these ones. Okay, one side went in. Okay, cheap, but they get the job done. Now we just have to make sure that it sits properly. Make sure that it's gonna go straight. You don't wanna put it sideways because it's gonna be bad. Now that you have it like that, let's get everything set up so we can push the hub in. Okay, we have the setup. On this side, on the back side, we have to put a plate that fits right on the bearing, because now we want to push the hub in and we don't want to damage the bearing. So this one fits right in the bearing. We put another little plate that fits right inside the hub, and we're just gonna push it in, which I don't think is gonna be that hard. It's getting hard, but we can grab our cheater bar. Now we have our new bearing in place with the new hub and the extended studs. Okay, so this kit really is really good, you know. It gets the job done. You can see bearing feels nice and solid. We have everything in place. Now let's throw this back in the car and we're done with this installation. Now let's put it back in the car. Okay, so that's in. Now we can start torquing everything into the car. Okay, control arm nut, we're gonna do 32 foot-pounds. Go. There you go. Now we can put our car pins on it. The lower control arm, that one on the bottom to the bolt joint, that's gonna be 47 foot-pounds. There you go. Easy as that. And for the tie rod end, we're gonna do 32 pounds. Okay, there you go. These two, they're gonna go to 40 foot-pounds. I leave it with that, guys. For the other side, it's the same thing, so I don't have to duplicate that. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'm gonna be happy to help. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one. Peace.